Or you could use them in a traditional ritual and ask the spirits to help you. But we'll save that for another video. How's it going, YouTube? I hope you're all fitting well and keeping yourselves occupied in these crazy times that we're experiencing right now. So a slight change of pace with today's video, veering off onto more of a how-to kind of video, which hopefully will be of some benefit to a lot of you out there, which certainly sounds like it would be considering all the requests that I've had in my inbox. But before that, I'd just like to remind you that if you like this video or any of my previous videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification tab so that you don't miss any of my future episodes. And if you've already subscribed, thank you very, very much. You're absolutely amazing. I really appreciate it and it means more than you know. And if you could throw me a like or share your thoughts in the comments below if you have any, that would be brilliant too, as it really helps me out, guys, and just inspires me to keep making this kind of content. More investigations coming soon, of course, so keep your eyes peeled for those, dropping in weekly and 2 weekly once we're allowed out to play again. Alright, so let's get to the video. You've probably heard of manifestation, or the law of attraction, magic, witchcraft, and so on and so on. Now these are all just terms for the same sort of thing. They're all just different ways of manipulating your reality. Now these, for the most part, are just different ways of doing the same thing. These are just different ways of manipulating your reality to bring about some kind of change, or desires, or your will. Now this is all very great, it works really well, it's brilliant. People have been doing this for years, but it's equally as frustrating when it doesn't work. So in order for this to work for you, it's worth having some level of understanding about the fundamentals that are involved here. So to understand the driving force that's behind all of this, you need to be aware of and agree that consciousness is the power behind all of this, and you're the operator. Your conscious thoughts, or your will, is all that you need to bring about a change. Now the mystics have known this since the dawn of mankind, and have kept this wisdom hidden pretty much for the most part, apart from a chosen few. But the powers that be, at the time throughout history, have tried to keep this wisdom for themselves and carried out a campaign of hate, fear and propaganda against anyone who was trying to share this wisdom or use it for themselves. Now this has been ongoing since the burning down of the mystery schools, when they were chasing the Emerald Tablets of Thoth across the globe. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, if you're not aware of them, a set of laws which were passed down from Thoth the Egyptian, and these laws were the basis of everything that happens within the universe. But I'm not going into too much detail about that because there's just so much information about that. The story's so vast and it wouldn't be appropriate to go into it. We can save that for another video. So fast forward to the present day, and physics has finally caught up with what we've known for years. And a famous experiment known as the double slit experiment was the key to the understanding that the scientists could get their heads around. So to very simply explain this experiment in very, very simple terms, if you take a gun and fire black sand through a single slit in a metal plate, let's say, if you fire the black sand through that against a white wall, on the other side you'll see a line where the black sand hits the wall where the slit is. That's pretty much what you would expect. If you get that same black sand and fire it through a metal plate with two slits, on the wall behind the plate you're going to see two slits where the black sand has gone through. Again, that's pretty obvious that that's what's going to happen, yeah? Now if you get a flashlight which fires light, obviously, through and aim it through the two slits in the metal plates, on the other side, instead of getting the two lines on the back wall of light, you get many lines, which is called an interference pattern. And this would normally have the lines in the middle being brighter or more intense than the lines on the outside. Now this drove the scientists nuts because when they shot the light through the two slits, they didn't expect to see an interference pattern because the light was made up of electrons, and they thought that these electrons were just particles of matter, so should behave the same as matter, the same as when you fire this black sand through the double slits with the two slits on the back wall. But this wasn't the case. They were making this interference pattern. Why were these electrons behaving as if they were a wave? A wave would go through the double slits, they would go through both slits at the same time, and then they would interfere with each other, bounce off each other, and hence that's why they create this multiple line pattern. That's how a waveform exists, that's how a wave would behave. So why are electron particles behaving the same as a wave on an atomic level, the same as matter? It doesn't make any sense. So in order to decipher why they were doing this, the scientists decided to observe very closely how these electrons were behaving when they went through these double slits. So they got an observational device, got the metal plate, 2 slits, and they fired the electrons, thinking that they were being very clever, through these double slits one at a time. Now surely, if you fire these electrons through the double slits one at a time, there's no way that the electrons can go through both slits at the same time, bounce off each other, and then create the interference pattern of many lines on the back wall. It should be seemingly impossible. So they fired the one electron at a time through this electron gun through the double slits. When they observed, and only when they observed, the electrons passing through, they actually saw the 2 slits on the back wall instead of the interference pattern. So they actually started to behave exactly how they thought they would behave in the first place, but only when they were looking at it. Now what this meant was the electrons were travelling to the double slit, and instead of going through either one or the other, they were going through the left one, the right one, both at the same time, and none of them at all. The electron was the basis, it was the potential to do all of the above, or none of the above. But it showed that they reacted differently depending on whether or not they were being observed or not. Now, my thoughts behind this are, when the scientists were observing the electrons, was their conscious thought, and this is the whole point of this conversation right now, their conscious thought was dictating where the electron was going to go, because they had already formed an opinion, an idea of where they thought the electron would go or where it should go. Therefore their conscious thought, the thought forms, was controlling the electron. So the electron would get to the point of passing through the 2 slits. It's going to decide, is it going to go to the left or the right one? The scientist's conscious thought made it go through whichever one was going through, depending on who was looking at it. So the electrons would switch from waveforms on the back of the plate, the back of the wall, into acting like solid particles, but only when the scientists were observing them. Just get your head around that for a moment. An electron particle acting like a solid when it's being watched, like when it's acting like matter when it's being watched, and when it's not being watched, it acts like a waveform which has any potential, which has a potential or all potential, but it only specifies down to one particular potential or the other when it's being observed. Now this whole idea of particles going between matter and waves in quantum physics is called the collapse of the wave. It's very important, especially for people like me and you, who are interested in the way that our conscious thought affects the nature of our own reality. So the quantum physicists came to the conclusion that in our reality, everything that we observe only turns into a solid form once it's observed. Now, as crazy as that sounds to a lot of people, it doesn't sound that crazy once you get your head around this experiment that we did. And it makes perfect sense once you understand the abilities that we've got and the things that we're able to do through a few little conscious manipulation techniques that we've been doing for years. It's brilliant. But it just pretty much comes down to that without the observer, nothing is solid, nothing exists. Everything has a potential to exist, but it only exists when you observe it. Okay, so we've got that part out of the way. That is very important, guys. Rewind this, watch it again. You must get your head around that, because we're going to be doing a lot of things like this further on, to do with, you know, the law of attraction, manifestation. I've done about this before. If you want to delve into a lot of occult stuff, its basis is to do with this and the way that this works. Okay, so wrap your head around that, that would be great. Okay, so another thing that you need to get your head around as well, the idea of dimensions. And when I say dimensions, I don't mean flying off into some kind of portal somewhere to some other universe. I mean dimensions as in 3D dimension, the third dimension, the fourth dimension, 2D, 1D. So the reason I bring this up is because when we do a lot of work with manifestation, if try and accept the idea that conscious thought, your thought forms, operate on a different dimension. Okay, so we live in 3D, third dimension. Okay, go forward, back, left, right, up and down. All right. Now there's a fourth and a fifth and a sixth, etc. dimensions, which we can't really perceive because we only know of up, down, left, right, depth, height. That's all we really know, that's all we can perceive. We don't know what the other thing is until it's experienced, or someone comes in from the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension and shows themselves as, you know, we're the sixth dimension beasties. But even then, if they did turn up, we wouldn't see them in the true form. We would only see the third three-dimensional version of them, if you know what I mean. So for example, if you had 2D people, a 2D land, like a flat land, full of people that only knew forward, back, left, right, it didn't have any up or down. If we turned up, you know, in our big 3D wonderfulness, we, you know, plot ourselves on this 2D land, they wouldn't be able to comprehend up or down, so they wouldn't see all of us. All they would see would be a strip of us, so they'd probably just see this. If my head was sticking through there, they would just see that. The rest of it would be there, but they wouldn't be able to perceive the rest of us. So that's likely the same for something that was from the fifth dimension, or working on the fifth dimension, we wouldn't be able to see it. Okay, so going back to the dimensions then, if we think of the thought forms being working on, I don't know, well, let's just say that the fifth dimension for argument's sake. So if everything on this third dimension is a direct projection or a shadow of whatever's in the dimension above it. So for example, if you get a sphere and if you shine a light on the sphere, the shadow that it casts against the back wall will be a circle, a two-dimensional shape. Okay, so the shadow that it casts from a sphere, three-dimensional, casts a two-dimensional shape onto the wall. So if you get a, you know, a fifth dimensional thing, shine a light on it, the shadow that casts is going to be the next dimension down. So in the same way that because our thought forms work on that higher dimension, if you can manipulate these thought forms, because this dimension here is what's responsible for the shadow that's cast in 3D Earth, if you can manipulate this dimension here and make it look how you want it to look, the projection into this 3D reality is going to be more to your liking. I hope that makes sense. Possibly not explained it the best way possible. So ultimately what we're trying to do is to manipulate the higher dimensional reality to project its reality down onto our 3D reality. Okay, thought forms are directly responsible for doing that. Now there's a little bit that goes into this as well, to do with the spirit world, ghosts and spirits and all the rest of it. I'm going to do that in the next video because I think it's very important to do with our paranormal investigation side of it. Possibly one of the reasons why we don't see spirits all the time, and when we do see them, we only see a fraction of them, or a ghost of them, a shadow of them. It's because they're in different dimensional spaces. Like they're around us all of the time. They're always here, or we're always there, whichever way you look at it. We just can't perceive them because they're operating on a different dimension. Okay, so when they do find the energy to do whatever they do, manifest, we only see a part of them, or we see a see-through version of them, usually, because that's the 3D perception that we can pick up. Anything beyond that, we won't be able to perceive it. They're probably doing the all singing, all dancing 5D, 6D thing. We just can't perceive it. So all we see is this wispy thing, or a face, or a shadow, you know, the shadow man. This is, you know, the kind of thing I'm talking about. So this goes a long way to explaining this whole ghost thing, and this is part of the ongoing investigation that I'm doing here, guys. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to get some real results here. Now I know that people have got real results, they've been doing different things, but they haven't done it on this channel, and this is my channel, and it's your channel, and if we carry on along this line of investigation, we're going to get some real results, guys. Really excited. Now, how do we manipulate this higher dimension, this thought form dimension. Many different ways. Now obviously you're watching this channel, it's an occult-y, paranormal type channel. So obviously I'm going to be talking about things like traditional magic, magical practices, the law of attraction, and whatnot and whatnot. And whatnot and whatnot, and so on and so on. Now, there's many, just so many different ways of doing this. I'm going to give you one example which is very easy, especially for beginners, but it's very effective, and you'll have definitely heard of it. Corporations have been doing it for years. It's symbols, the power of symbology, sigils, okay? Right, so what you want to be doing with a sigil. Now here's a sigil that I made earlier. Now the idea behind these symbols are, the way you do it is, think of a desire that you want, okay? Write a sentence down, but make it a very positive statement. Don't make it a statement of something that you don't want to word it like I want something. If you word something like you want something, the thought form and projection that you're going to be putting out is going to be the thought form of you wanting something. So you're always going to be wanting that thing. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to put out the thought form of whatever it is that I'm desiring is coming to me. It's already on its way to me. I'm excited for this thing to be coming to me. So this one, very simple, just for the sake of this, was something we all want, which is health. Okay, so I wrote on the top of the bit of paper, which I'll show you in a second. So it's not I want to be healthy, it's not I wish I was healthy, it's I am healthy. A positive statement, brilliant. I mean, that statement alone can create so many different effects to your physiology. So anyway, I am healthy. Stick to the plan, Alex. I go off track so much. I do apologise. I know I talk far too much. I try to edit these videos as much as possible to cut it down so you don't fall asleep. Just bear with us, folks. I've got lots and lots to say to you. Now take out all of the vowels. So the A, E, I, O, U. Don't know why I said that. You know what vowels are. Take out all the repetition of letters, and then you're going to be left with a few letters left. Now try and create some kind of a symbol by putting those letters together. Add bits on, rub bits out, you know, make it any shape you want it to be. Make it aesthetically pleasing to you, something that you like to look at. And what actually happens during this process is, because you're making this symbol, now at the time when you're doing it, it might not seem like very much, but when you're making this symbol, you're working in your subconscious mind all of the time that you know that this symbol that you've made means, in this case, I am healthy. Now even if you make this symbol and put it somewhere and forget about it, or if you stick it behind a mirror, you know, stick it on the mantelpiece, anywhere you want, but just forget about it and go about your day-to-day lives, every time you see that in your corner of your eye, even if you don't consciously see it, your subconscious will see it. You can't help it, but your subconscious 100% will think, I am healthy. This is just a fact, guys. It's how the brain works. There's a lot of work that you can do with your subconscious. I've done a lot of work on hypnosis, which is very much interlinked with this kind of thing. Alright, this is just facts, guys. It 100% works. It's all linked. It's physics, it's science, it's magic. It's all super interlinked, and that's what's so wonderful about the whole process, because it just bloody works. Now once you've got your symbol, as I've just said, you can do different things to kind of activate it into your subconscious to then put the thought form out there. You can either leave it lying about so that your subconscious picks up on it and constantly projects that thought form of, I am healthy, or I am wealthy, or I am getting that job, I am getting that woman back that I wanted, or man, or whatever you want. Anything you want, as long as it's worded properly. Okay, you get the gist of it. You're not daft, you know what I'm talking about. Now some people are not happy with just leaving it lying about and doing the long-term consciousness dropping in sort of thing. Some people like to activate it. Now you can activate it in many different ways. Some people like to burn them. The act of burning something, if you're into traditional methods, using the elements, if you set fire to something, the fire will release the intention faster. That's just the way it goes. Don't ask questions, just do it. The burning of the sigil can be part of a whole ritual kind of thing. Now, a lot of the reasons why we do rituals, again, is to add weight and it's to add momentum to the thought form that we're doing. So the ritual itself becomes a tool of what we're doing. You know, so you've made your sigil, the conscious thought is there, the subconscious thought is there. You know, you've been watching it for a while, you're constantly putting out this thought form of what you want. You go to do the ritual, there's the act of setting the whole thing up. You know, you've got the constant intention, you've set that you might have some candles there, whatever. You've set fire to the sigil. You know, there's other things you can do with the sigil to empower it. It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, some things are probably more powerful than others, but you just need to add weight to this particular thought form. Right? Much the same as if you're flipping a coin. Right? Here's an easy way to think about it, because I know that this is hard to get your head around for a lot of people if you're not versed in this kind of thing. So if you're flipping a coin, it's gonna, you know, on average it's going to go 50% heads, 50% tails, right? It's got a 50-50 chance, if you believe in chance. So if you weight down one side of the coin, more often than not, it's going to land weight side down, okay? So you're tipping the odds in your favour. You're adding weight to one particular side of the potential to the other. So that's exactly what you're doing with these thought forms, alright? So you're adding weight by doing all of these things to the thought form. That form becomes the dominant thought, which goes off into this higher dimension, manipulates the higher dimension as that being the dominant thought. That is what is projected down into our 3D reality, and then you have your desires that you've been asking for. Okay, it is as simple as that. It does work. I've been doing this for years. Try it yourself. Let me know how you're getting on. Now, of course, this is just a very basic understanding of how to do this thing. Now, I don't want to, you know, I'm not patronising any of you. I know there's a lot of you out there who already practice a lot. There's a lot of you out there who practice a lot more than me. But this is just to give you a basic understanding, because from the feedback that I'm getting a lot of requests for this sort of thing, as well as the paranormal stuff that I'm doing. So, you know, because I've got to try and cater for all of my viewers, this is exactly why I'm doing it, and I love doing it as well. Or you could use them in a traditional ritual and ask the spirits to help you. But we'll save that for another video. So yeah, speaking of which, many people, including myself, will invoke the help of the spirit world to help with these intentions. Now, this is a very advanced way of doing this. I'm not saying to go ahead and do this straight away. A lot of people aren't comfortable with this. You know, you've got to have been well versed and practiced this for quite a while. Because there are, of course, a lot of dangers that are involved, a lot of complications that are involved. But for the most part, I've only ever had positive experiences with this. Okay, so it makes sense that, let's just say that we agree. You know, some are going to not agree, but let's just say that we agree that you've got these spirit entities, demons, angels, gods, ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to call them. They exist on the higher dimension that I was talking about before. Different dimensions, so you might have some ghosts existing on 5D, you might have some more ancient spirits, god forms, whatever you want, that exist 7, 8, 9. You know, it's endless. There's endless potential of existence. So the idea is to tap into whichever one you want to help with. Okay, so it makes sense that if these things exist on these already higher dimensions that you're trying to tap into, to request their help, add weight to your intention, to add weight to your thought form. They're already there. You know, much like if a 2D person in 2D flatland asked for our help to I don't know, make something go up. You know, to pull them out of 2D land. You know, we could just reach down into 2D and pull them up. Okay, much the same as these people in high dimensions can reach down and pull us up, figuratively speaking. Does that make any sense, guys? You know, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your experiences with this, whether you're advanced or whether you're a beginner. You know, I've been doing this for years. I can vouch for it. It just works, you know. And if any of you, if any of you guys have got some preferred ways of doing this, let me know in the comments down below. I do really enjoy reading and listening about, you know, and hearing about other people's ways of practicing. Absolutely fascinates us. There's no right or wrong answer, because because some things work for some people and not others, and vice versa. Okay, all I can really do is tell you what works for me and what I know that works for millions of other people around the world. And then you tell me, because you're my community, what works for you. Okay, this is brilliant. Alright, so if you got any value from this, guys, again, please throw me a like, hit the subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell notification button so that you don't miss any further videos. Okay, so what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to go and find somewhere scary to go and make the next video. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You're amazing as always. Love you, and I'll see you in a bit.